Hi everyone, it's Beverly Cole. Welcome back to my RV studio and my channel. And if you're new here, well, I welcome you. The beginning of this video is not the project we're doing today. It had been the project that I was going to do, but after I tore out a bunch of stuff and cut it out, went to bed and woke up, I always have my best ideas at that point, and I came up with a doozy this time. I'm so excited to share it with you, and I hope that it inspires you to do the same or something like it. So let's begin. At first I started just taking out all the pages and noticed that the signatures were only a few pages each, and they were sewn in and they were also glued in. After I started tearing apart the strings holding them in here, several pages would come out, but the last page would not. It was glued. So I had pages that had the glue on them like this. And at first I was going to use all of the different things that I took out. I still have a lot of pages to go, as you can see, but what I was doing was saving different parts of them, which I was going to show you in the video that I showed at the beginning. But then things kind of changed. I have all these little ends that I will probably end up weaving together. And I have a lot of the black and white images that I fussy cut. And then I have all the little numbers in there with a couple pieces of cat hair that I've cut off so far from the bottoms of the pages. And they are numbered on both sides, which is kind of neat, you know, because it was a book. So the things on the tops and bottoms of the pages that you can see here are on both sides. Very, very cool, and different colors for different sections of the book. I also cutting out things to use in a glue book. I have pictures and I have some different rectangles that could probably end up being the background of a page, or they could end up being things in maybe in a pocket. I was thinking of a glue book that had more places where I could tuck things that I could get out later to use in different projects. So I had all these beautiful pictures. I had to sacrifice some things on the back because, of course, with them being pages, they have things on both sides. Some things it worked out, some things it didn't. As you can see, lots and lots of words on the backs of pages, but also ideas. And that's what I was going through the book for. I was going to share the different ideas that I get from looking at the pictures, such as draping or windows or doors. I have so many, and there's so much more that I can also cut out and use. But I loved one thing that I couldn't figure out how to use, and that was the cover. The cover is beautiful. The cover is blue, like an indigo blue, gorgeous color. And on the inside, it's this sunflower yellow. And I thought, I really want to use this cover. You can see where I torn out all of the signatures. And then I decided to cut out the end papers and use part of that to cover up the spine. So that's what I'm going to do first right now, and we'll work on from there. You can use glue or you can use double-sided tape. I decided to use glue for this piece because this right here is a sort of fabric, and I think that the 3-in-1 glue by Beacon will work the best out of all the glues that I have right now. So I'm putting plenty of glue in there, and I'm going to glue that down, press that down. Let's see if I can get my, of course, when I want my bone folder, I don't know where it is. It should be right here somewhere. Oh well, don't have it. But of course you can use your fingers, bone folder, anything to press this down. And let that dry a bit. And then I'm going to put some more glue. I folded this over. I cut it long enough where I could give it a fold. And I love folding paper. It's funny that I don't do any origami. And I'm going to glue this down also. So I'll just put some glue here, right on top of that beautiful sunny sunflower yellow end paper. This book was almost asking to be used. This cover was almost asking. It's just plain. And I think that that just lends itself to what you could do with it. So I'm going to just press that down, and I folded it short enough so that the book cover will still move. And look how pretty that is. How neat is that? Just plain, nothing fancy, because this is gonna be a folder. It's not gonna be a book, it's gonna be a folder now. It was a book, now it's a folder. What's gonna happen inside this folder is that I've made 4 of these pamphlets to go in here, and I like the strings long for now. I don't know, I think I'm just gonna end up cutting them short because I just don't think that what I'm thinking of doing will lend itself to that, and I'll save these strings to use in something else. Who knows what? Who knows? Who knows? I'm gonna cut those off. And as I'm cutting them, you can see some of this one has furniture from different centuries in it. And on the cover is furniture. And what I did on the inside was use the second page of the 2-page spread. And what I mean by the 2-page spread is this. In the book, every chapter has this, like, let's see, is it like that? Or is it like, oh, it's like this. Okay. 2-page spread going into the next chapter. And this one was soft furnishings. I just think these pictures are so beautiful. And I thought, well, what can I do with them? And this is what I decided to do with them. I can make a lot more of them, and I'm not sure what I will do with those when I make them. But for these 4, they're going in this book. So I'm just gonna finish cutting off these little tails for the 4 books that I made. And I'm going to make one of these with you so that you can see how I went about making it. This I used for the outside cover, and this I used for the inside of the cover. And then I had 3 pages from the book. At this point, I decided to go with the glossary in the back, the contents page, and further reading. These will make the pages in the book. I'm gonna get my paper trimmer, and we'll start with the cover. I'll start with the outside cover. And you can do this with any kind of book. If you find a book with beautiful pictures, by all means, make something with them. The outside cover is going to be 9 3/4 inches across. Okay, so we need to make that 9 3/4, and the pages are pretty much already that size. So 9 3/4. I just have to cut off a tiny bit. Yep, just a tiny bit. Where are you? Here it is. Look how little I wasted, not much. So this is across 9 3/4, and then 10 1/2 this way. 10 1/2, and it's just shy of 10 1/2, just shy of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this for the outside. We're gonna fold this, and I'm going to use my paper trimmer to score lines on it. I really wish I could find my bone folder. Here it is. Hiding with my rulers. Yay! Here it is. My bone folder. Okay, so 1/2 inch fold all the way around, and I'm just using my paper trimmer, which also came with a scoring blade, but God only knows where that went. And then I'm just going to go around and do a 1/2 inch on every side. Now this is a pretty large book. So if your book is smaller, you'll have to do your own measurements. But all I did was measure how big I wanted the cover, and then I added a 1/2 inch, well, an inch on each lengthwise and widthwise, and then it's a 1/2 inch fold on all sides because I love to fold. Now before I glue these down, I'm just going to cut those little corners. Now you could use glue or you could use double-sided tape. I've been using glue So I'm thinking maybe trying some double-sided tape if I can find it. Well, we might have to just go with glue. Let me put out my glue mat because I've been noticing that I'm getting glue on my good mat and I don't want to do that. I didn't mean to make a rhyme, but I did. So just putting some of my 3-in-1 glue on these 4 edges. Make sure you get it to the very edge because you want to make sure that the edges aren't coming up. And of course, if you want to sew, by all means do. You all know the story of my sewing machine and how I have to keep pulling it out from storage next to my bed in my RV. And I still haven't made friends with my new sewing machine as far as threading it. But it is lighter than the other one. This will be the back and the front. So this is all done for now. And now I'm going to make the inside, which takes the other sheet that says the name of the chapter on it, which we're not even going to worry about. We're not going to worry about that at all. Now this one is going to be the inside. The inside will be 8 3/4 across, 8 3/4. So notice I am cutting off a bit more. So that's across. And from this way, it's going to be 9 1/4. I have 2 pretty strips that I can save for later. Use the paper trim again to do our scoring. If you have a scoreboard, that's awesome. It's just easier to keep all of the measurements same, you know. I just added 1 inch and make it a quarter. Now, you have to be careful. I tend to press too hard with my bone folder, and sometimes I tear the edges, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't. You know me. I'm not worried about things like that. All the way around. And I'm so glad I get to share this with you today because, hopefully you'll be able to make some of these and store things in glue books that you make, right? So again, I'm gonna trim the little corners off, and I like to just make that little tiny cut like that. It's gonna be the inside cover. So we're going to fold all these edges back, just like we did with the front cover. This is the inside. The front and back cover. It's just the outside cover. And then this is the inside. So it all matches. It looks pretty. You get to use these gorgeous images. That's where I cut it or tore it. Right there on the edge. Oh well, it's all right. That's okay. So notice the corners, how pretty they're gonna look, right? Just nice corners. Nothing fancy, but they look more finished than if you had it squared off and you could see where, that other side of the page would be just, if you left it square. So now this gets glued. So this is easy, right? You're just the outside and then the inside, and all you do is that 1/2 inch all the way around for both. Now what you're gonna notice is this one's bigger than this one. This one's gonna go in the center of this right here. And I don't know why it doesn't fit. What did I do wrong? All right, maybe make your cuts. I think it's because that one page was scant and I folded it, but that's okay. This is gonna look cool anyway. And I have another idea. So this is the whole thing, right? We come up with ideas when, well, actually, it's what crafters and artists. We are problem solvers. Did you know that? We solve problems. And right now I have the problem that this doesn't completely fit inside. So you might wanna make your margins smaller, make your, add, you're gonna do the measurement that you need plus 1 inch. And somehow I messed that up. I think, like I said, I think it's that one page that just was a little off. But look what I have left. Look what I have left. You know what I'm gonna do, right? For sure. So I need a piece here, and let me get a ruler. You know me and my rulers that I hate to measure, but I wanna make sure we have enough. So this has to be 8.5, and this has to be 7 3/4. So 8.5, let's make it an 8.5 inch strip, okay? Ooh, I like that part. Not like it matters, right? I gotta turn it around so I don't cut it off. Okay, 8.5, and I just need just a 1/2 inch piece will do. Sometimes when you have small pieces like this, it's hard, but you can hold this down over here, and you can have, and I need 2 of them, so I need 1 for each side. So that could be a little tricky, but we're gonna do it. Oh, it worked. It worked by pressing down this thing right here. Just a little sliver there. So now I've got the 2 pieces for here, right? This has gotten a little bit more fiddly, but I apologize. But you know what? It's gonna be fun. I'm going to put that here and that here. And then I need 1 piece to go right across the middle of all those. And that one, this ruler has been chewed by somebody. 7 3/4. Okay, so 2 pieces that are 7 3/4. And I'm keeping most of the party part. This guy's just a little piece of dark. Put that over there. And then I need these to be a 1/2 inch. Is that what I said? 1/2 inch, right? Yeah. I'm always using 1/2 inch. Just 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. Everywhere's 1/2 inch. Folding and cutting. 1. Now, who would have thought that we'd be using these little pieces in this cover? I made a mistake. So when we make a boo-boo, we can fix it because we are problem solvers. I don't think I finished that conversation. We're problem solvers. If I have a problem, we're gonna fix it. My problem for this was I needed somewhere to keep my images in a glue book. So this way I have that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put glue on the strip. Not sure which one this is. I'm hoping it's a longer one. I think so. And I'm gonna smush the glue in. Fit it on there. And then I'll take the other long one. Excuse my black mat, but I'm trying to keep from ruining everything I own with glue. That mat is made so that you can actually take the glue off of it, which is helpful. So this one's gonna go here, right there. Look at that. That's so pretty. Then we're gonna take these 2. But before I glue these 2 on, I'm gonna cut them on an angle, I think. Well, maybe not. Let's see. I put them a little further apart than I should have, so that's okay. I was hoping I could just make a really pretty frame, but I'm not gonna worry about it today. I'm just gonna glue these on. How about we just make them fit perfectly? So we'll glue and then we'll cut some off. How's that? This will fit between the other 2. 1, 2, and then I'm gonna just fold back and cut it to match that seam. There we go. Look how cute. Never say never, you know? I'm like, well, that even turned out cuter than I had planned. Cut it first. Taking a chance. All right, just put it here. Perfect. Perfectly imperfect. Now we have a beautiful inside of our book. Almost pretty enough to put on the outside of the book. But we don't want to have soft furnishings on the cover. I just don't score it because we're gonna fold it in half. So let's just see exactly how big this is. And it is 8 3/4. So that's 4 1/2 and a 16. 4, oh, and an 1/8. 4 1/2 and an 1/8. I think right there. Should do it. And if it doesn't, it's okay. But I'm pretty sure that's it. Nope, I'm wrong. Anyway, oh my goodness. It's been a long time since I took math and I wasn't good at algebra, only geometry. So good at geometry. While everybody else was having extra credit questions about rock music, I always got the one about math. So I always got A pluses. I had an A+ in geometry. Can you believe that? A+, but forget any other kind of math. And that was a long time ago. So here's the cover. Isn't it pretty? It's beautiful. And you get to look at these pictures now all the time. The ones that you just fell in love with in the book and you just couldn't do without them. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. That's the cover. Now, the next thing is to take some pages. Like I said, I'm using the pages from the glossary at the back of the book. The back of the book. So the pages will be 9 inches tall, 8 inches wide. And they will be smaller than the cover. I'm putting 3 in. So 9 inches tall, and this page is a little, almost 10 inches tall. I'm not going to worry about it being centered or anything like that. I just need it to be 9 tall. So 9, oh wait, this is not tall. This is this is wide. 8 inches wide. 9 inches tall. If you wanted to go ahead and make sure everything was centered and all that, but it's not important. So I'm going to cut 3 pages, 8 across, 9 tall, and I'm just turning it that way to get rid of the rough edge, which usually I wouldn't even care about. If I had been using the rough edges through the whole book, then I would have, considered them being important, but they aren't because I didn't use them through the whole book. There's 2. 1 more. Only using 3. If you use 3 pages folded in half, you have 12 pages. So what I do is fold each one separately. Match the corners carefully as I can. And of course they're going to be perfectly imperfect as usual. Whoopsie, get over there. Through the middle, to the ends. It's a Sunday here in the park. It's not very busy down here right now. It's kind of like the shoulder season in Florida because, kids aren't out of school yet, most places. So we don't have families yet that are taking their whole vacations. And, we're not the closest to Disney, but when the one next to the Thousand Trails Park next to Disney fills up, well, this would be the next closest. So now I have them inside each other. And when you do that, the edges are a little bit off, which, isn't a big deal, but just to show you, whoopsie, what you can do is just put that page in there, and I put it at 4, and there's a little bit left. I get into the middle of the page, go up, go down, and it took off a smidge, but the pages are all even now. Pretty much. Looks like I still have some there. But I am going, through several pages at once, so not surprising. Ooh, people are coming back from wherever they went today. 1 signature in each of the pamphlets. 1. So this one goes inside this, and of course, it's a pamphlet. So, what do you think we're going to use to attach it? To attach our signature. Well, we're going to use a pamphlet stitch, of course. Now, pamphlet stitch, you can find places all over the internet, or at least all over YouTube, that'll have people gladly to tell you how to do a pamphlet stitch. But, why would I make you go and search for one right now? Let's just do it. Okay, let's do it. And I apologize for my air conditioner. It's very hot. So I made myself this little tool, and I put a T at the top. And I'm going to open up to the middle of my signature and the middle of my book. And I'm going to make sure that's a nice pressed fold for the cover and the signature. It's hard to see. Then I'm going to put it in there where I think I want it. Make sure all the pages are where I want them. And put a clip there. And a clip down here on the other side. So it looks like this, okay? Looks like this. And right here is where we're going to put my little tool. I line it up at the top of the book. maybe I'm gonna even fold this really good. I got all my notes on the other side of it, all my measurements. Because that's, you know, I like to keep things all in one spot. I'm really good at losing things. Now, I'm going to move this over onto the tool, my little pamphlet stitch guide, okay? And I'm going to go through to the outside, through the pages and through the cover. Now there's, you know, it's not rocket science and it's not a big deal. Put a little mat underneath it so that I can jab this into. I'll do one, then I look to make sure it's on the, yep, it's right on the fold. That's awesome. Let's do the middle one, and then the top one. Then we look, and the holes are right on the fold. All right. You know, you might feel like, oh, so much work, but it really isn't. It really isn't, especially if you're not making something that's, you know, you're really worried about. Now I do 3 times the cover, a generous 3 times the cover of twine. I'm using this cotton twine. You can use whatever you want. I don't have any embroidery floss with me, so I can't use that. So this was the next best thing I had. I have this really nice needle. Doesn't have a point. Has a huge eye. Can you see that eye, how huge it is? It's like a I don't know, let's see, what is it? That's like 3/4 of an inch, this eye. So then, the twine goes through super easy. Well, it helps if you bend the twine or cut it at an angle, and you know, this needle is like unbelievably easy to use. It doesn't even have a point. You can't even hurt yourself. Well, don't poke yourself in the eye. So then I leave it about that way, almost the same size as each, and I'm going to go into the middle hole, and putting it from the inside out is going to give me my knot inside the book. If you wanted to have your knot outside for some reason, God only knows why, then you could go ahead and start the opposite way and have this on the outside. Then I'm going to go in the top hole, right? Like we haven't seen this a million times before, right? Oh, maybe you haven't. I don't know. Okay, and then all the way to the bottom through the hole. And I mean, it's only a few pages, so. But isn't it neat? It's a pamphlet, and we're using the pamphlet stitch. And you want to make sure you have a length of it in here. Okay, and since we're not going to leave them long, I'm not going to worry about that at all. And then back in this center hole, one on each side of that center piece of twine. So I have one on this side and one on this side. And then I'm just going to cut it off and tie a knot. Doesn't matter. A knot. A knot. Some people like to do 3. Doesn't matter to me. It's 2. It's enough. And then I'm going to trim them short. Ta-da! Except I see what I did. Do you see what I did? I left my tool in there. I made it part of the book. Oh my gosh, Bev, really? Now I gotta cut it out to make myself a new one. Can't believe I did that. Oh yeah, I'm such an expert. Okay, well there, look now. Take that out. And there we go. That's the center, okay? Make sure you pull those tight enough to hold your pages together. It's a little bit loose because I took a page out. And I can make that knot again. I love untying knots. But look how pretty, okay? So was that hard? I don't think so. Just remember to take your thing out. Oh my goodness. So, there we go. Another one. And inside, it looks like this. Nothing special. Nothing special at all. Now you have places that you can put things. You could also put a pocket on the inside. Let's take our book now. And now I have a choice. I have a choice. I think I'm going to use these 4. This one was my first one. And these look really pretty together, I think. They look super pretty together. I love them. Wow. Don't they look cool? Put this one over here and this one over here. Put this one over here and this one over here. Or these 2 over here. There, I think, yeah, here we go. I like that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, that I got on Amazon, and I do have some links in my description that you can use if you'd like to help me out a bit. Use my links so when you shop at Amazon and get a teeny tiny, a little bit of a financial gain. I think right now it's like, I don't know, not even $2, but when you use it, it helps me to be able to continue on Amazon, so that's nice. So what I want to do now is I'm going to measure, because I don't want these to look lopsided. I'm going to use, those are the fuzzy ones, then I need the unfuzzy ones. Here they are. And you get so many. I think there's like 200 in here. 6 sheets. Wow, lots of them. Okay. Oh gosh, I hope I don't mess this up. I want to make this like a 1/2 inch from the top. It looks like that would work. Okay, then I'm just going to make a really light pencil line that I can erase later. First, we're going to add the piece that we want to be in the book where I measured for it to be. So it's going to be right there. Then I'm going to put the other one right there. Then this one there, and this one right there. And before I do anything else, I'm going to erase the lines. That's the part that's got the little loops. Okay, I'm not supposed to use the brand name of these on here, so I'm going to have to cut that out if I set it anywhere. Oh, I got a pencil line there too. It doesn't look very good. How did that happen? Okay, I hope that's the top of the book, because if it isn't, well, yeah, it is. Phew. Okay. Now, these, on top of these, I'm going to add the other side of the loop sticky thing, the dots. Can't say that word. When you look at it, like, right, you're looking at it now. If there's a blank spot where that name used to be, you know why. I had to cut it out. Okay, so now we have the 2 sides of the loop and fuzzy thing, and I'm going to just put my book where I want it. Now, let me get the ones, it doesn't really matter because I can move them around. So this is the top of this one, and I can see the mark, but I don't really need to. I didn't have to do all that. All I have to do is this. Look at that, okay? That's holding my book. I might have to put one on the bottom. This one's so cute. I think I'm going to put this one right next to this one. We don't want it in that gully there, right here. We don't want it in there. Oh yeah, I'm going to have to add more. Oh well, that's okay. Because these are glue books. They can come and go, you know? They can come and go. Should I put the blue one next? Yeah, let's do the blue one. Oh, let's see. This? Yeah, that looks good. Is that the front? Yeah. Oh well, let's see. The best thing is to make sure they look neat next to each other, and they do, if I do that. And then this one, is that the front? Yeah. Then this one, a little bit space between them, that's all. And there's 4 of them. Okay, so I didn't want to do a whole lot of connecting because I want them to come out easily. And they will. See, they easily come out. You just got to be a little bit, you don't want to be yanking on them. So, yeah, they need more on the bottom. All right, well, I'm going to add those. Love it. I love this. This was a great project. I am so happy with this project. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead and add the other half to these sticky dots. Sticky side up. And press. Oh yeah, that's better. That's awesome. Sticky side up. And press. Sticky side up. That's so silly. And press. Make sure it's straight. And one more. Like we're exercising, right? I know you can. Oops, sticky side up. Make sure it's sticky side up. And press. Now we have our 4 glue books in our glue book album. Our glue book album. How beautiful is that? You open it up, you got all your stuff. And we'll do that in the next video. Thanks for stopping by. Love you all. Bye.